everyone. I should probably turn that down a little bit more. And as always, actually turn it down for myself and also deal with the fact that, once again, I can see two of myself. Also, continuing to try and look actually at the camera. Hello. It is Tuesday. I'm not really sure how. Time continues to progress. It is Tuesday and it is 3:15 and I have come straight from one Zoom meeting and I have to go straight into another one after this. I don't have to. Neither of those things were technically mandatory, I should stress. I don't actually have any. The only thing I have that's mandatory to attend is my dissertation supervisions. But I have my every other week. I have my research cluster reading group, which was today. And I also then have found that my dissertation supervisor is giving a seminar in 45 minutes, which I only realised midway through my previous Zoom session. So whether I managed to make it or make all of it, I'm not sure, because I'm so tired. I'm so very tired. I'm definitely getting better at telling when my bad sleep is like fibro bad sleep versus when my bad sleep is I slept badly, if you see what I mean. So I did struggle to get to sleep last night and I did wake up once at 7, which sounds like a perfectly reasonable time to wake up, but it's not if you're expecting to need more sleep than that. I still felt exhausted when I got out of bed at 11. Having gone to bed at 11. So I can definitely see that it's not that I'm not sleeping enough hours. It's not that my sleep was particularly disturbed. I was in pain, but I wasn't in so much pain that I felt like it was affecting me significantly as I was going to sleep. But I woke up super tired. I am now in a lot of pain today. I actually had to sit in my heated blanket during my group, so I've got it here. So I sat with this around my shoulders and no one commented on it initially, which I was very grateful for because I was like, I look really weird right now because I dress for Zoom calls when I know I'm going to be on video, and in fact even if I don't know if I'm going to be, in the way I would dress in going to university, and I've always dressed in a like I'm going to a workplace sort of thing because it helps me situate myself in a place of productivity and focus, and I feel more confident, and so I'm like I look really nice and dressed up, and then I've got this fluffy grey blanket around me and I'm sitting and talking about like the politics of health. That was fun. It was great. It was a great group. But I actually want to talk about it, not because I want to talk about the group, but because I want to talk about yesterday. So I mentioned last week that what I decided to do, because I had 5 chapters that we were discussing from this book, but I wanted to read more than that. I wanted to read the whole thing. I was like, it's only 200 pages. That's not that bad. And normally for me it wouldn't be that bad. However, I am very tired. I worked 2 13-hour shifts this weekend. And I have been looking after myself as best as I can outside that, but even still there's only so much you can do when sleep doesn't actually do anything. Illness is great, everyone. And also my brain weasels have been difficult. There's been some other stuff going on that's been really hard. And I've just not... Yesterday was just awful. It was just really bad. And it just little things kept going wrong on top of it. And you know, it's always those little things that add up and make things really bad. So like I'd woken up very tired. I was in pain. Some other stuff had happened that had upset me. I went, okay, I'm gonna try. I got myself out of bed, I got myself dressed, I put my makeup on, which as we now know is like armor of some kind, magic. And and I sat down and went, okay, I'm going to order donuts because there is a place that makes vegan donuts that now delivered to us, and I went to order it and they didn't have any. So that was just, it's just little things like that are the ones that really break me. Like I won't ever like go into a full emotional meltdown because of all the things putting me in a full emotional meltdown. It will always be like, the cat didn't let me pet her, or I can't order donuts. I knocked something off a table and everything is fine, but I feel like everything is terrible. That will always be like the thing where everything shatters, which I think is quite interesting. I'm sure there's something to be analysed in that. But yeah, so yesterday was trash. Like real trash. Of these 5 chapters I had to read, I did manage to read 2. The fact that I read any is a miracle. I had a really unpleasant time trying to read them. Sorry, the cat was poking her head through the door that doesn't fully close because my Ethernet cable is running out of it. She was concerned because I've been shut in here all day. Yeah, so I managed to get it done, but I think the thing I'm really coming to have a better relationship with is the idea that you can get the thing done but actually be worse off, not just because you feel worse, but because the experience of forcing yourself to do it can be really bad. I should stop moving my arm because my arm is very painful. And that's basically what happened yesterday, and so I did that. I got that done. I stopped myself from putting myself through trying more and went, okay, I'll just do it today. And obviously I then woke up today just as tired, and it was very hard. But fortunately, the reason I got through it all in the end was that one of the chapters was absolutely amazing. It made me cry. It made me jump out of my seat. I rage tweeted. No, I the opposite of rage tweeting. I happy tweeted. I excitement tweeted, like a huge string of quotes from this article because it's so good. I should probably tell you what it's called. It's from the book Against Health, by Metzl and Kirkland, or edited by Metzl and Kirkland, and it's all about pain and how pain is used, and the avoidance of pain and our fear of pain is used as the method by which, or the crux by which, disability and disabled people are oppressed. It's just so amazing, and I'm still reeling from it. And I think that's why, even though I was super tired and in lots of pain, I still went to group, because I was like, I need to talk about this. And I got in there and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can put my video on, and then I did, and then I stayed with my video on the whole time, so that was good. I'm not having video or voice on at all for this next one, because it's just to go listen to a talk, so, rather than being a discussion group. And I know I absolutely wouldn't be able to manage the reading group and then this and then the discussion group. So it's definitely a case of like pacing myself, and that sort of thing, which actually leads me on to something I wanted to talk about. Have I said everything about that I wanted to? I think so. So did I mention I'm tired? Okay, so the other thing, I've started making a list. Oh, the cat's gone. Started making a list of things I want to talk about, because I want to keep, this is a vlog, I want to keep the updates, but I want to start sort of vaguely thinking about topics that I want to talk about alongside that, because I think I often find it quite hard to fill the whole stream with just an update, especially like for this one, where literally the only days that have happened are Friday. What did I do on Friday? I don't know what I did on Friday. Hold on, I'm gonna look it up. Not much. Oh, I vlogged on Friday. I vlogged on Friday because then I vlogged and then I went and watched Critical Role. So I didn't really do very much studying on Friday. Yesterday I did a lot of reading. I'm going to go to multiple different things. But I have not done any dissertation work. So I feel a little weird about that, but I want to try and, I think, do some tomorrow. Do some the day after. Do some the day after that. Just really focus on that for the rest of the week. As we know, what will probably happen is at some point I'll go from nothing to done. I'm also kind of toying after today with the idea of actually doing nothing at all tomorrow, which is a very real possibility because that will help a bit as well. But yeah, so the thing I want to talk about today, and actually that journal I just looked at to work out what I did on Friday, is slightly related to this, because I want to talk about ways in which I cope with or manage, whichever term you prefer, my disability whilst I'm studying. So for anyone who's not familiar or is new or is not heard me say this explicitly before, I have chronic depression and social anxiety and fibromyalgia, the last one being the most recent addition. So I have a variety of mental health symptoms and chronic pain and fatigue and aches and just general awful. Just general awful, best description of fibromyalgia. So that's a lot going on. Every single one of my illnesses is exacerbated by stress. Just look around you for how unstressful this world definitely is right now. Yeah, so this year has been particularly hard for my illness. In fact, in a way, I have been more ill this year than I ever have, but also I've been better this year than I ever have. I don't really like the word better, but we're still finding an alternative. Better sort of plays into the rhetoric of I must get better. I must be cured and become a real human, as opposed to my disabled self, which is not a real human. In case you can't tell from my voice, I don't consider that a particularly good perspective. But yeah, so I want to talk about the things that I do in order to help manage all of that. The first, most important one, and I have talked about this before, is that I have weekly mentoring. Now, my mentoring is paid for me as part of my disabled students allowance, which is something that here in the UK is available. I'm not sure about what it's like in Scotland. Certainly in England and Wales. It's any student at any level can get it. So I've got it now at master's level. I can get it at PhD level. And that gives whatever help you need for your illness and your disability. Yeah, and for me it's mentoring. So I have 1 hour of mentoring a week, where I meet with my mentor and we basically talk about managing my disability and managing my academic work. And I would not be here talking to you if I hadn't had that mentoring. This year would have gone very differently. My mentor has helped me. So I really like organising things. I professionally organise things now. I'm very good at it. I like it. It's a thing that I do almost as a hobby, in a way. I don't know if you can organise as a hobby. However, I also have illnesses that make me tend to do that a little bit too much and rely on that a little bit too much. And if you hyper-organise yourself, which you can very easily do as a result of anxiety or perfectionism or that sort of thing, then you just create a source of stress rather than relieving stress, which is what organising your life, any aspect of it, is meant to do. So my mentor helps me fall back on that a little bit. Fall back on that? That's not the phrase you say. You know what I mean. Reel back a little bit so I don't hyper organize. She's taught me to be a lot more flexible. So for example, a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to start this stream at the wrong time. And that sounds really weird, but it's a sort of thing that would have really stressed me out. And then I wasn't very good at cancelling things, so I would go to them even if I wasn't well enough to, and then it would make me worse. And I would hold myself to really strict regimes, and then when I inevitably couldn't manage them because I'm mortal, I would then feel much worse about it than I would have done otherwise. So that's really helped. And I've learned a lot of strategies from her, and even just having someone to talk to about it. We talk in a very holistic way, so I'll often talk to her about things that aren't related to studying, or my illness. We talked a lot. I think I did a lot of the work processing Grandad's death with her, because it was a thing that was massively affecting my studying, and she's been with me through all of that and will be with me through all of my PhD as well, and is genuinely my friend now, basically. So that's the first thing I do. Obviously, professional mentoring is the ideal, but I think you can potentially set up, I know there's a lot of peer mentoring systems in universities, or you can ad hoc create peer mentoring yourself just by finding someone in a position where you can support them and then they can support you. One might call that friendship, but I think having it in a slightly more formalized way does help. And that's the biggest, most important thing that I have done to help me manage studying, and it's why this course has been like so much more successful for me in terms of managing one and the other. Is definitely that. I'm also aware that my boom arm is shaking quite a lot, so hopefully I'm not getting too much feedback. I'm slowly working on my sound quality. The next thing, and this is especially relevant for anyone working at home, so when I was working on campus, I would change location quite a lot. I'd move around quite a lot. I really loved the study corrals that we could rent that was literally a box with a desk that you could lock and hide yourself in, and I'd always get up to take breaks to walk around the library or to go and get more books, so I'd be taking breaks sort of naturally. I don't do that here. This is my office. I study here, I work here. My main hobby is playing computer games, so I also spend a lot of my leisure time here, which means I don't stand up. And when I don't stand up, my muscles seize up. My muscles are held very tense anyway, which makes my pain worse. My muscles then seize up, or I'm sitting in a bad position. I'm actually in the process of replacing this terrible chair. I've ordered a new chair now. That'll be coming soon. And so I tried several things to make myself get up more. I've had it recommended by multiple osteopaths and doctors and all sorts that I need to be standing up every half hour or so. You'll hear that in most advice that's like, well, you need to make sure you look away from your screen every blah long. I think it's mostly 20 minutes, you're told. I go for half an hour because I find 20 minutes a bit too intrusive. So I started by having a timer on my phone that I would set, and every half hour I'd get up. Problem is, because it's on your phone and you've got to like pick your phone up, unlock your phone, open the app, set the app going. I stopped doing it just because it wasn't as directly accessible. So I bought this, which looks super weird. However, this is a kitchen timer. It's magnetic, so it lives on the side of my computer. I have it set to 30 minutes. I can change it, like it can go up to 99 minutes 55 seconds, because that's the most it can do. I have it set to 30 minutes. When I sit down, I press it twice, and that sets it going. Then it beeps. Half an hour later, I press it to stop it beeping. I get up, move around, I sit down, I press it twice. So that's the reason that works for me, is that it's much more accessible. You can't configure the noise. You can't do a few other things. I picked one that looked nice, and a lot of them don't. However, it works really well, and since I got that, I've done a lot better at getting up every half hour. She says, having just sat down for like an hour and 20 minutes without getting up. I don't put it on in Zoom calls, because you can guarantee it would go off with its a really horrible, like, generic alarm sound. Oh, Rafi, thank you. Yeah, so I'll talk about the chair actually as well, because that's something that's been really helpful. Obviously a chair, very important for my back pain, for my leg pain, for my hip pain, for my everything pain. And this chair I've got is terrible. So I did a ton of research into like what I need to be able to adjust. Also I just got the alarm on Amazon. It's literally a kitchen alarm. So you can get all sorts of different ones. Don't worry about going fancy. Just get one that will be very easy for you to start and stop. I would recommend a digital one because you can press the button to set it going rather than, like, you know, the apple shaped ones that you have to turn every time. That the more steps you put in, the less accessible it is. So make it really, really easy to press it. And also I don't take a huge break each time. Like, I can literally just get up and sit back down, but it's the fact that I've changed position at all that's really helpful. And it's magnetic, so it sits on my computer. But yes, in terms of chair, I worked out the different things I needed to be adjustable. I know I've talked before about how the lumbar support on this chair is in the wrong place, so getting a chair that actually understands that short people exist, because a lot of them don't. When I was looking, I found a website where you could search by height, and this was awesome, and I put in my height and it recommended me lots of chairs for children. I'm not that short. I'm quite short. I'm very short in two families all with people 6 foot tall. But I'm not drastically short. So God knows how hard it is to get chairs for people even shorter than me. But yeah, so I did a look around. I worked out I did need arms on the chair, but I needed them to be fully adjustable in every direction. So up, down, left, right, rotation. I needed the lumbar support to be adjustable. I needed the headrest to actually be able to go in the right place, because that's is one of the main things that goes wrong with height, is that, like, if I sit in my husband's chair, then his headrest comes here on me. And I needed to be able to adjust the seat tilt and different things like that. And I worked all of these things out and found the chair that was best for me. And the irony is, because I'd gone, okay, I need to look at proper orthopedic chairs, like actually designed for people in my position with chronic pain, blah, blah, blah. And none of them were great. But actually, gaming chairs do all of those things. Particularly expensive ones. However, a particularly expensive gaming chair still vastly cheaper than an ergonomic office chair. It's ridiculous. So after this whole cycle where I went, because I did have a gaming chair and it was a very cheap one, and I went, no, this isn't working for me, I don't want this. And I got rid of it and I got this chair, which was better in some ways because it was made for people my height, but worse in others. And now I've ended up ordering a secret lab chair. The other advantage to ordering a secret lab chair is that is the sort of chair my husband has, so I've been able to sit in one, even though his is made for people very, very tall, because we're on opposite ends of the height spectrum. I was able to sit in it and see, like, with adjusting it, what it was doing, it was better for me, and it's just so much more comfortable than this. So that's another thing that I think everyone has been saying, especially in pandemic times where we're all working from home. But I sit in this chair for 14 hours a day sometimes. I need to make sure it's actually a good chair. So yeah, there's that. The other thing I do, and I think this is probably going to be the last tip. I don't know how many I've done. Is this 4? It might be 4. But yeah, so the last thing I do is that I bullet journal. I call it bullet journaling. It doesn't really bear any resemblance to bullet journaling anymore. The first and most important thing is that I am constantly adjusting the way in which I'm journaling, because with the way that my disability affects me in different ways at different times, like I can be not in a pain flare and need a lot less pain management stuff, and then suddenly be in a pain flare and everything's very different. I every week, even sometimes every day, think about what I need from my bullet journal, and in terms of what the act of journaling is going to do for me. So I noticed sort of middle of last week, actually over the weekend especially as well, where I was working very long hours, and those hours were very jam-packed. I would get to the end of the day and go, I've not really achieved anything, which was bullshit, because I just worked for 12 hours, and you know, and it's very easy, I find, when one task runs into another, to forget all of the things that you're doing. It's especially easy if you're someone who does any kind of team management to forget that the quick conversations you have with your staff are also work. So I have, rather than writing down things I need to do, been writing down things I have done. And I think this is like the third or fourth day I've been doing that, so it was sort of just before the weekend. And my best friend suggested it to me, and it's magic, because now I get to the end of the day and go, hey, actually, I filled this entire page. I can't actually show you it because my job is under NDA and I've got some stuff related to work in there, but basically it's, and I can change how much I write down. So I can have a day where I need that, but I don't need it at a really minute level, so I can write down like bigger tasks as one thing. Today, actually I can show you today. So today I've had a really shit day. So I've got get out of bed and clean teeth as my first two steps, because I needed those. Took enough spoons for me that it was worth like listing clean teeth, get dressed, put makeup on, all as separate things. And it really helps me recognize how much I'm doing, also how many of those tasks require physical activity, because I need to make sure I don't go too on physical activity, because then my I'm likely to have a pain flare if I go to extreme that way, but also to make sure I still do something physical so that I don't seize up in the other direction. But sometimes I have times where actually I need reminding what to do because I'm feeling so overwhelmed that breaking down what I have to do is very helpful for me. So I really recommend, with any kind, whatever list making, journaling system you use, whether it's digital or paper. I actually use a mixture of digital and paper. I use digital for my calendar and for work tasks, and then I generally use paper for everything else. And it's really important to make sure those things are working for you and that you're not shackled to them. That's one of the biggest things my mentor has taught me, is sort of getting away from that and getting towards how is this serving me, not how am I fulfilling it. It's a really important distinction. So, oh yeah, we're half an hour in. So I think I will probably leave it there, because actually I will leave it there with one last thing. The other thing I've learned to do is not do too much. I realise this is weird. As someone who does lots of things, I'm always going to be a person who does lots of things. There are also limits, and I think recognising, like right now, I can tell because I've gone from that Zoom call straight into this, I've got a lot of very strong physical anxiety happening. I'm also very tired. I also don't remember when I last ate. I haven't drunk enough water today, that sort of thing. So being able to recognise when those things are a thing those things are a thing. Good English. I have multiple qualifications in English and have published multiple books. I still use the word thing repeatedly. Yeah, to be able to say, it's awesome that I've done this. I don't want to push it too far. I'm going to stop before I ruin myself. Rather than I will ruin myself in the process of getting it done, but at least it's then done. No. So being able to say that just because other people stream for several hours on end doesn't mean that's going to work for me, and being able to find the balance between everything is really important. And what the balance is for me is going to be different to what the balance is for you or for anyone else in your life or otherwise. So learning to listen to yourself and working out where those limits are and how to navigate them, because sometimes circumstances mean you do have to push them because you've got a deadline or things like that, but you'll be much more able to do that if you're not doing that already every day. So yeah, with that I will leave it there, and I will see you all again definitely on Friday. I kind of want to game stream for that. We'll see how I do, especially if I'm in a lot more pain today than I was yesterday, so if that continues to ramp up, which it sometimes does when this is happening, then I won't be able to, but we'll see how it goes. I will keep everyone updated on Twitter. The Twitter link is down there somewhere. It may not be down there if you're on mobile. I never watch Twitch on mobile, so I have no concept of where things are on mobile. You can find links to me on the internet. But thank you all for coming, and I will see you all again very soon.